Dawn doesn't break so much as boot. Apartments ease out of night mode, induction mats dim, and across the city a whisper of diagnostics rolls through bedrooms like a low tide. People stretch to the small click of relays instead of the drum of pulse. There is no coffee for blood sugar, no multivitamin for anemia. Humanity wakes as a network, hearts handshaking with local nodes, lungs reporting airflow, livers announcing coolant levels with the same polite certainty as a smoke alarm that tested fine. Hospitals no longer smell like antiseptic and urgency. They sound like workshops that respect silence, carts gliding, torque wrenches seating micro-seals, nurses reading logs as easily as once they read labs. The transplant list is a museum exhibit. The oncology wing is a research library. Pharmacy windows dispense filters, gels, and thermal paste. Surgeons still stand scrubbed and precise, but most days their skill is in calibration, timing a valve, shaping a heat path, smoothing a firmware handoff so a chest never feels the hand that steadied it. In the first 10 minutes of this new normal, the miracle is loud and it's quiet. No insulin alarms, pancreases don't tire. No nitric oxide drips, lungs don't scar. No dialysis queues, kidneys don't fail. There is a weightlessness where dread used to live. Then the second thought lands, everything miraculous has a power budget. Hearts negotiate watts the way they once negotiated oxygen. Kitchens keep water for taste and cooling rather than for pressure and chemistry. Pantries look like memory, closets look like infrastructure. By midday of the first day, bodies are accounts. Organs phone home for efficiency tips and error codes. Terms of service ride shotgun with consent. Updates cascade in careful waves, noise cancelling for ocular arrays, better latency for autonomic loops, new thermal curves for deep sleep. Most patches are invisible. One isn't. Somewhere, a stagger fails and 100,000 hearts drop to safe mode and back in the span of a held breath. Nobody is harmed. Everybody understands the bargain. Homes rewire their priorities. Nightstands grow induction spines. The most valuable appliance is a wall battery labeled personal reserve. Sidewalks learn the etiquette of curbside charge, arrive low, leave enough for the next person, don't camp. Stores sell microfiber sleeves with the pride once reserved for health club memberships. Apartment listings brag about clean power the way they used to brag about views. Offices and factories adopt brownout posture, lights dim, non-critical motors coast, employees step into quiet bays while floor batteries shoulder the dip. Meetings begin with a micro brief, patch windows, reserve status, no high load tasks until green. The first week reveals where metal meets market. Supply chains creak. Everyone is chasing the same ceramics, seals, rare alloys, and dense cells. Old landfills become mines, board harvesters peel yesterday's devices for tomorrow's spares, logging provenance like jewelers. Gray shops offer bargain firmware with names that promise more breath, deeper sleep, stronger focus. Some tweaks sing for a week. Some brick silently at noon. Vendors respond with carrots and fences, loyalty tiers, extended warranties, remote quarantine for tampered sweets. Forums turn devotional, the faith of official, the gospel of forked. Inequality reroutes. Premium no longer means pretty, it means buffer. Extra voltage headroom. Wider thermal margins. Self-healing routines that actually heal. On the track, reaction loops tighten by milliseconds and win by meters. In labs, premium HEPA stacks scrub a toxin spike before it matters. In meetings, advantage is boring, a focus curve that doesn't sag at 4 in the afternoon because your autonomic firmware budgets differently. Actuaries retire health risk and price upgrade risk, pedigree of parts, cadence of patches, distance to a boring substation. Sports bodies rewrite the rulebook, classes by watt ceiling and thermal profile, audits of patch histories before finals, medals for endurance code as much as speed. By the first month, medicine is maintenance and shame falls away from both. Clinics run on checklists, keep it cool, keep it clean, keep it current, delivered without scolding. People learn that heat is a predator, dust its accomplice, and time the truth. Apartments add quiet bays, dark, filtered nooks where 20 minutes of low power calibration stretches mean time between service. Outages turn into inventory stories, not tragedies. Who carried reserve? Whose suite degraded gracefully? Which model panicked and why? Law arrives late, breathless, and necessary. Right to repair grows teeth when bodies are the platform. Legislatures write that life-critical systems must accept certified third-party parts and publish interface specs. Manufacturers invoke safety. Regulators counter with escrowed keys and continuity trusts. If you sell hearts, your bankruptcy cannot stop them. A new guild stands up between surgeon and electrician, human systems engineers. Their pride is 5 nines and a client who forgets their name because nothing ever breaks dramatically. Auditors appear with a new authority, quiet professionals who read service logs the way investigators read ledgers, stamping clinics and vendors with grades for rollback discipline, thermal design, and downtime honesty. Security changes shape. Checkpoints stop hunting liquids and start hunting emissions, rogue radios, and unknown firmware. The line moves faster because the goal is simpler. Don't let a crowd become a testbed. New crimes appear with old motives, ransom that targets livers instead of laptops, but they collide with a culture that adopted backups as a reflex. People carry laminated offline cards, organ suite, last known firmware, safe mode steps, emergency keys. Paper, once quaint, is now the thin line that ignores a dead modem. Travel adopts new rituals. Airlines require a declared reserve, stadiums publish low Emmy hours, neighborhoods mark quiet channels on community boards so nobody's sleep patch collides with a street festival's lights. Culture bends but doesn't snap. Food becomes art and memory, bread because you love bread, not because calories keep you here. Sleep becomes a choice about dreams rather than repair cycles. Athletics splits into 2 aesthetics, the bright theater of peak firmware and the quiet elegance of endurance code tuned for summer grids. Dating profiles list A-series cardio, lattice neuro, flow and hepatic with the same matter-of-fact tone once reserved for height and hometown. Spiritual life adapts, blessings for clean power, small ceremonies when a legacy suite retires, a new language of gratitude aimed at the people who keep the invisible steady. Family dinners are a syllabus in versioning. Grandparents with dependable A-series brag about a decade without a forced reboot. Parents with feature-rich B-series compare notes on patches that almost changed everything. Teenagers with C-series expect the body to update like a phone and rage when servers lag. The generational divide isn't values, it's cadence. The global map redraws along power and policy. Microgrids turn villages into fortresses of uptime. Glittering towers with fashionable but fragile feeds learn humility in the first summer storm. Cities adopt human reserve quotas, hours of comfortable off-grid life per person, as a basic promise alongside water and policing. Linemen and linewomen become the unheralded cardiologists of the commons. A person in sleet on a pole is keeping 100,000 chests steady. Disaster response evolves. When hurricanes form, convoys carry transformers and filters with the same urgency once given to bottled water, and shelters advertise watt budgets before cots. Geopolitics notices. A blackout becomes a public health event, a tariff on ceramic seals moves elections. Nations court vendors like allies and treat firmware escrow like nuclear safeguards. Treaties define what fail-open means when a device is alive. Somewhere, a company logo goes dim on a skyline and nothing terrible happens because a continuity trust turns a private stack into a civic utility without drama. It is the most adult thing a government does that year. Art finds a new light. Pain recedes, silence becomes a subject. Painters learn to render ceramic skins and vent shadows, sculptors cast heat sinks as devotional objects, poets write to the dignity of a day when nothing alerts. Flea markets bloom with analog days, paper books, hand tools, wooden spoons. Nostalgia is gentler when it's elective. Memorials change, too, not for lost pulses, but for retired versions, small plaques that read A-series, served 27 years, honoring the craft that kept a person present. Not everything ennobles. There are hustles feigning fixes, influencers peddling placebo patches, and a thin market for thrill, overclocked hearts that hammer like speakers in a trunk until a summer day proves physics has no favorites. But most lives drift toward grace because grace is cheaper. Fewer watts. Wider tolerances. Roll back first, Brag never. Neighborhood batteries sized a little too large. Filters changed on time. The cumulative math of small quiet decisions. Who suffers is predictable now. People wired to brittle monopolies, campuses with zeal for features and no rollback plan, suburbs rich in hardware and poor in infrastructure, anyone who confuses heat with heroism. Who prospers is boring, households with laminated checklists, districts that publish maintenance logs, companies that ship fewer features and more uptime, neighbors who share a port without being asked. Schools catch up and then lead, kids learn to flash safely, to seat a thermal bridge, to read a power curve as fluently as a paragraph. Graduation includes a drill where you keep a lab running through a simulated brownout without losing your cool or your data. Decades pass and the species divides, not by flag or faith, but by how it treats failure. Some cultures prize the thrill of the edge, they glow until they don't. Others build lives out of overbuild and patience, they coast when storms arrive. Somewhere in the middle, most of us learn to live like captains, pre-flight before commute, glide path through outage, handover at patch time with a voice that stays calm even when hands shake. The day ends the way it began, quietly. Diagnostics ripple backward through the city. Induction pads pulse. Logs sync. Someone wipes a grill of dust with the same easy reverence their grandparents once used to say grace. In a window, two people watch rain without counting steps or calories or heartbeats, and they do not miss any of it. We used to define health by blood and luck. Now we define it by margins, watts we don't need, heat we don't make, faults that fail soft, neighbors who check on neighbors because that's the firmware no one can ship. The future we kept isn't louder, it's steadier. Pen the machines that tend to you. Share your buffer. Patch patiently. Build the boring things strong. Then let the night close without your life becoming news.